I wanted to talk about something that happens to us women that deal with burnout, autoimmune issues, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, digestive issues, reproductive issues, and all the things, right? One of the things that happens and one of the phases that we go through is the grieving process. We miss who we once were, the sharp one, the one who wasn't tired, the one who was able to multitask, the one who had so much energy, the one who was able to kind of do all the things, right? We're not as sharp as we used to be, and we become someone that we don't recognize. We're slower, whether that's physically, mentally, cognitively. It takes us a minute to formulate our thoughts, our sentences. We have brain fog. We can't get around like we used to. A lot of times we can't even get out of bed because we're so exhausted from the burnout and the chronic fatigue. And we just become someone that we don't recognize. And we go through this phase where we're trying to catch up to who we once were. And it becomes this like acceptance of the fact that the old you has now died. You are no longer that person, right? You are now someone new. And one of the things that we long for is to get our life back, to become the person that we once recognized, to go back to that place where we felt like we had our shit together and we were able to do so much. And the thing is that we try to get there, right? Like, we see the doctors, we see all the specialists, we get on the medication. Sometimes the medication works. Sometimes it comes with messed up side effects like drowsiness, and it makes the chronic fatigue worse. Or it'll kind of flare up another symptom and you're like, what the hell, can I catch a break? Right? Sometimes you go the unconventional route. You try yoga, you try Reiki, you try to meditate, you try to be in nature, you try to do like all the things, and you become desperate because you so desperately want your life back. You don't recognize who you are anymore. And I know that this happened to me in my journey of like, who am I? Like, I'm not as sharp as I used to be. I'm not like quick-witted as I used to be. Sometimes it takes me a minute to translate what I'm thinking to what I'm saying. Like, I even tell my kids sometimes, hold on, give me a second. Like, either you know what I mean, let me know if I'm not making sense, or I'm going to try again in 5 minutes, because it becomes like this death of like, fuck, I'm no longer this person anymore. Like, I'm now somebody else who has to look at life differently and has to move through life differently. And it can become like this process where you're grieving who you once were, right? And we get frustrated because the things that we seek to help us in this journey to get better, to feel better, seeing the doctor, seeing the specialist, getting diagnosed, getting all the tests done under the sun, checking your thyroid, your hormones, your whatever, depending on your the diagnosis you have. Like, maybe you're getting EMG tests done, maybe you're getting MRIs and sonograms and all the things, surgery even, like if you need to remove fibroids and so on and so forth. And you're like exhausted at this point. You're exhausted of doing all the things. And so you try the unconventional route. You try to seek out healers. You try to do, the meditations. You try to do this. And maybe it does work for you for some moment, right? But what we are realizing, a lot of women, is that yes, that is helpful on your journey, but it doesn't get you to a place where you feel that joy in your life again. and you feel like your life, like you have some sort of grasp on your life and your health, like you have some sort of control on what is going on, and you see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? And I wanted to talk about that for a little bit, because the reason why that gets frustrating as to why that's not working is because those things do not get to the root cause of why your health has taken a downhill, of why your body is breaking down. Those things don't get to the root cause. They might help with the symptoms here and there. There'll be a temporary fix, and they may get you from point A to point B, but from point B to Z or C to Z, you're fucked. You're kind of like, I gotta wing it. I gotta figure it out. I don't know what's happening. Why is this not working anymore? Or sometimes you don't even want to become dependent on like medication, or like, I know for me, there was medication that I was able to take for my nerve pain, but it got me so tired and drowsy to the point that I could not take it. Like any time of the day I tried to take it, I would knock out. And I'm like, this is not a life that I want to live, because I am someone who loves to go outside. I love to walk. I'm very active. And my health journey forced me to stop completely, which was super hard for somebody who is active all the time and who walks 3 to 4 miles a day and who is just super independent. And now you're dependent on other people to help you, and it becomes this grieving process. And you go through depression too, because you're like, who am I? Like, what is happening here? And so, like I said, those things don't get to the root cause, right? And it's not working. Those things are not working. They don't work. They don't work long term. They may work for a tiny period, but it's not something sustainable, right? And the reason why they're not working, like I said before, is because they don't get to the root cause as to why you're sick. They don't get to the root cause as to why your body's breaking down. They don't get to the root cause as to why you're so tired. They don't get to the root cause of why you're going through this burnout phase where you're exhausted all the time and your brain doesn't work and you can't formulate sentences, or maybe you're having digestive issues, or maybe you have fibroids or fibromyalgia or lupus, or you're dealing with cancer, or you're dealing with thyroid issues and you can't breathe, so you have lung issues as well. And at the end of the day, these things are band-aids. And the way that you get to the root cause, right? The way that you get to the root cause of what is happening is by you getting your life back. And how do you get your life back? You stop abandoning yourself. You start to choose you. Because what happens with women who have been diagnosed with autoimmune issues, with burnout, with chronic pain, with reproductive issues, like I mentioned, fibroids and PCOS, and I forgot the name of the other one, but there's so many, multiple sclerosis and lupus and fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis and all the things, right? Is that these are women who do not put themselves first. These are women who show up for everyone and do not show up for themselves. They put themselves at the bottom of the list of who they need to take care of. And sometimes your name is not even on that list, because you are so concerned about everybody else. You are so concerned about everybody else, and you forget all about you, your wants, your needs. You start to say to yourself, I was somebody who used to wear makeup, or I was someone who used to dress nice, or I was somebody who used to wear heels. I was somebody who used to go out all the time and really take care of myself. And now I just come out the house with whatever. And you're like, what happened? What happened to me? And it's like, well, I'm busy running around with the kids, or I'm busy, my job is super hectic and super demanding. I don't have time to get, to do my, to look presentable. I just kind of like whatever I get, I put on. You're too busy taking care of your spouse. You're too busy taking care of your parents probably, or your siblings, or your best friend, or whoever. And you forget to check on yourself. You forget all about yourself. You abandon yourself. You no longer do the things that brought you joy. You don't enforce boundaries with people. You silence yourself. You don't speak up when you need to. You don't say no when you need to. You do things that you don't want to do because you feel guilty. You allow people to walk all over you. You don't let people know the restrictions of what it's going to take for you to be in their life. You have a lot of unbalanced relationships where you overgive and the other person just takes, and they barely give you. They barely check in on you, but you're always checking in on everybody else. You're always making sure everybody's okay. Meanwhile, you're breaking down over here and nobody's checking in on you. And you're like, damn, like I wish people would take care of me the way I take care of them. And what a lot of people don't understand is that every time you abandon yourself, every single time you abandon yourself, your body is the one that takes the brunt of it. Because if you ever realized every time, you ever took notice of how your body feels whenever you do something that you don't want to do? If somebody asks you for a favor and you really don't want to do it, but you do it anyway, your body is going to signal to you something. Whether it's a stomach ache, whether your shoulders start to flare up, whether you feel some sort of something in your body that's telling you, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And you do it anyway. Because you don't want to be the bad person. You don't want to be mean. You want to be supportive. You want to be there for everybody. You want to, like, whatever the reason is. And so you abandon yourself to please somebody else. Because you know damn well that you don't want to do this. But you put your feelings aside to help somebody else. So every yes, every silence, every overdoing of you doing too much, of you running around taking care of everybody, doing the most, running 101 errands a day. Every single time you do that, your body takes a toll. Your body feels the brunt of that. The body's like, oh gosh, more pressure. And the more that your body takes a toll, the more you feel these symptoms of exhaustion, brain fog, depending on what autoimmune disease you have. It could be pain. It could be digestive issues. It could be throat issues, throat problems, thyroid cancer. It could be migraines because you're overthinking and you're running different scenarios in your mind of the what ifs. And you can't calm your mind. You're dealing with the numbness, the tingling in your body. And the exhaustion, again, because the exhaustion is huge, where no matter how much you sleep, it's never enough because you still feel like you haven't slept at all. You could have slept for days, sometimes weeks, and it feels like you haven't slept, not 1 minute. And all of these symptoms is your body telling you and talking to you and letting you know, it's alerting you that it's had enough and that it needs to rest. And that it needs for you to take care of it. And that it needs for you to pour into it. It needs for you to become the main character in your life. Nothing else happens unless I take care of myself. That's how I live my life now. That's not how I used to live my life. I used to make sure the kids were okay. I used to make sure Robert, my husband, was okay. I used to make sure Taz, our dog, and now our other dog, Opal, was fine. I used to make sure the house was clean, and I was doing my job, and I was picking up kids, and I was going food shopping, and I was doing this, and I was cooking, and I was doing all the things, running all the errands. having all the tabs open in my brain 24/7. And every single time I did that, my body was drowning. It was drowning. And once I began to put myself first, once I became the main character in my life, once I became the sun in my life where everything revolved around me and me not feeling guilty about that, was when the breakthrough started to happen. Was when I finally was starting to see, okay, there is light at the end of this tunnel. There is light at the end of this tunnel. That, coupled with me dealing with my trauma in a way that nothing else could ever tackle, could ever get that deep into it, is how I was able to get my life back. Is how I was able to now be symptom free. Where I don't have to see any more doctors. I don't have to take medication. I don't have to keep getting tests done. I no longer feel pain. I no longer feel exhausted. Well, I am still feeling tired because I have a vitamin B12 deficiency that we're getting under control. But besides that, every single time we abandon ourselves, our body takes a toll. Every single time we don't deal with our trauma, our body takes the toll. Because, like I say all the time, the body remembers everything. The body keeps the score of everything. Every trauma that you've experienced, every uneasiness that you've experienced, every second of joy you've experienced, of love, of fear, of shame, of trauma, of abandonment, of all of that, the body remembers all of it. And until you start to tackle that trauma, coupled with you becoming the main character in your life, those two things is what's gonna allow for you to get your life back. Is what's going to allow for you to finally recognize who you are again. It's almost like you're coming back to yourself, to who you once were before all the trauma, and before you started abandoning yourself, and before your body started to break down. That's why I call my program Return to Self, because you're literally returning to yourself. You're returning to who you were before all of this happened to you. Before your body started breaking down, before all the health issues. You go back to that person. But in order for that to happen, you have to go back and heal your trauma. You have to heal your trauma, and then you have to become this person that puts herself first no matter what, without guilt. Those two things is what is going to allow for you to get your life back. And let me tell you, it's beautiful on this side. It's beautiful on this side. So if you're somebody who's dealing with autoimmune issues, burnout, chronic fatigue, chronic illness even, and you're looking to get your life back, you want to live a life of joy, you want to live a life of not feeling all the symptoms, of actually recognizing who you once were, book a next step call. I have a link here on the live. If you catch me on YouTube, it's going to be in the description box. And if you're catching me here on Instagram, like I said, it's here on the live. It's also in the link in my bio. I invite you to book a next step call for us to work together and to heal your trauma, and for you to become that person that puts yourself first no matter what. And that is easier said than done. It takes a lot of unlearning. It takes so much unlearning for you to become the main character in your life. Because us women who deal with these health issues are the ones who don't put ourselves first, are the ones who are people pleasers, are the ones who are peacekeepers, who do and say whatever it takes to not ruffle feathers, who don't speak up, who don't say no when we don't want to do something. We are the ones that take on too much. We're the problem solvers. We're the super women. We're the perfectionists. We're the A-type women. You know, we're the ones who get shit done. We're the ones who, you know, everybody comes to for everything because they know that they can rely on us. We're the ones who comfort everybody. We're the ones who keep the family together. That's who we are by nature. We're just that person. But with that type of personality comes, there's a downside to that. Because if you're not taking care of yourself through that process, and a lot of times it's not that we don't want to, it's just we're so exhausted from doing all the things that by the time we sit down, there's no more energy to pour into us. There's no more energy. So we look at pouring into ourselves as sleeping. Like, I'm sleeping, so I'm taking care of myself. No, you're supposed to sleep. Everybody sleeps. All right, so I'm going to leave you with that. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM. Reach out. And I will see you again. I'm going to be going live again this week. What's today? Tuesday? So, I think Thursday or Friday, one of those 2 days. I'll be going live again where we could dive deeper into this topic. But again, you have questions, feel free to DM me. If this felt like something that could help you, if you're somebody who's dealing with chronic fatigue, autoimmune issues, digestive issues, reproductive issues, chronic pain, burnout, any of those things, and you are somebody who wants their life back, you want to feel joy again, you want to live life like you once did again without all these crippling symptoms, then book a next step call. Again, the link is here on the live. It's also in my link in bio. And if you're catching me on YouTube, then you're going to find it in the description box. All right, take care.